According to a 2019 report by H2 Consulting, in 2014, the share of smuggling to our GDP was about 3.88%, which is not good, but you can live with it. 4 years later, in 2018, it has gone up to 11.25%, which brings it to the same ratio as your tax to GDP. So you can imagine, purely in terms of loss of revenue, you're looking at, depending on who's doing the calculation, and as we all know, finding exact data is a bit of a chore in Pakistan. You're looking at the loss per annum of about $3 billion. Now that begs the question, what kind of products are being smuggled? So there's about 12 to 15 products which are smuggling staples. If you want to look at it in those terms, they include auto parts, diesel, fabric, medicine, mobile phones, tea, televisions, tires, vehicles, and of course, cigarettes and other tobacco products. Now, of course, the logical question is that, well, the law enforcement agencies do manage to stop some degree of smuggling, do manage to interdict this illegal trade. But the sad fact is that only 5% of smuggled goods actually get stopped, which means that the question really isn't why do people smuggle goods? The best question is, why shouldn't people smuggle goods? If you have a 95% success rate, that's absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, the real reason that this happens is because there is a demand for it, which is not really being fulfilled. And part of this also has to do with, in terms of tobacco products, counterfeit production, illicit trade, and also tax structures. We'll be coming to that in a moment. But I just wanted to clarify that when we talk about smuggling, it's not, or illicit trade overall, it's not just about the loss of revenue. There is also the loss to legitimate business operators and legitimate businessmen, because this is where crowding out takes place. We'll be talking to Amar about that in a little while. And here's another link that often goes unremarked. There is a security and a terror financing link here as well. How is that? I'll explain. The proceeds of smuggling are usually laundered out of Pakistan, and then they contribute to terror financing. A lot of the routes used by smugglers are also the same routes that are, and in some cases have been, dominated by terror groups. You see this in Balochistan and surrounding areas with the BLA and the BLF. You used to see it prior to the operations with the Tehreek-e-Taliban, the Lashkar-e-Islam, and various other organizations. So it's not a, there's no single facet to this issue. There are a lot of negative results that come in due to unchecked smuggling and illicit trade. Now, when it comes to tax, of course, when it comes to cigarettes, of course, Pakistan is probably the highest cigarette consuming country in the SAARC region. We smoke a lot. And because the demand for that is inelastic, which simply means that if you raise the price, people are still going to smoke, the margin of profit for counterfeit cigarette manufacturers and cigarette smugglers becomes much larger. So, Dr. Gilani, I'm going to start with you. In terms of the overall economic picture, how do you see, what kind of damages do you see from illicit trade, be it smuggling or be it counterfeiting?
So first of all, thank you so much, Zarar, for having us. This is a great platform for having this discussion, especially with someone like Dr. Nadeem Ul Haq, who's an expert, and we've heard about him and we've read so much about him on issues that are related to this. I just want to, so this topic is quite huge and it's quite broad, and it's definitely, it encompasses a lot of aspects in it. So I just want to clarify certain dimensions before we take this debate forward. कुछ numbers आपने quote किए. हम economists अक्सर कहते हैं numbers are just statistics. We, you can take them in whatever direction you want to take them in. So keeping that in mind, मैं भी जो numbers quote करूँगा, they are not based on any preconceived bias. They are just numbers. We are just here to give a snapshot like you gave of what these numbers actually are. The more important question is, what do we do with these numbers? या जो आप 5% कह रहे हैं कि सिर्फ रुक रही है smuggling, तो अब what does that represent, or how do we go forward with that? So we need to be very cautious when we are stating these numbers. Secondly, I think because the definition itself or the topic itself says illegal in it, legality and illegality is determined by the state. So obviously there's a big role of the state involved in illegal practices, either they are occurring or how do you stop them.